Are they stuck inside?
Yeah, they're stuck inside. They're not moving. They're not doing anything.
Okay, you said a part of a bridge fell down?
My eye socket is fractured in 2 places, which has caused double vision.
Your son sends you a message and says there's a shooter on campus, and I'm like, I'll be there. I'm coming down. And he said, Mom, I don't want you to come down here. I don't want you to get shot.
You don't know who's making that drug at that time.
Hamilton County is part of Tennessee. It has an opioid problem.
Each and every day, our providers are dealing with moms that have been on drugs and used drugs, been on opioids, and these babies are addicted.
There were 1,837 deaths in Tennessee from overdoses.
From a lady who had raised 2 children of her own, and she drove away and left our son in a ditch.
The department, this community lost not just an officer, but a son, a father, a friend, and a protector.
Nicholas was a guy you could tell that was here for the right reasons.
My heart just breaks for the family. It's just a horrible tragedy.
The city of Chattanooga lost a really good man. We say God bless to Chattanooga of the United States of America. We love you.
Let's begin our team coverage. We have several reporters looking for answers.
Let's break down this about 2-day manhunt at this point. Yesterday morning around 6:30 a.m., Anthony Bell walked out of Erlanger Hospital wearing only a green hospital gown, handcuffs, and no shoes.
When Anthony Bell is booked into the Hamilton County Jail here over the next few hours, he will have another escape charge and a burglary charge added to his rap sheet.
Today we heard from Chief Deputy Austin Garrett on why Bell's case and his escape are going to be up for review. When Channel 3 spoke with Garrett today, he told us that the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office has a very specific procedures in place for bringing inmates to the hospital.
We are issuing a voluntary boil water advisory.
Our team coverage continues this half hour.
We're going to have to wait about 6 to 8 more hours, according to Tennessee American Water officials.
No water for some schools here in Hamilton County.
And it is still flowing, though. Much of Chattanooga is still without water.
We are tracking storm damage across the area. Severe weather moved through this morning, leaving multiple trees down across the area.
We're under another marginal risk today. I do want to show you, though, all the storm damage reports. Each little dot that you see there represents storm damage.
As you can see, crews are working to remove this tree right now. If you can see, they've made quite a bit of progress.
Still a very active scene at this time. In fact, we just got an update from EPB that it's probably going to take 3 to 4 hours before power is restored. So a little bit longer timeline than what we originally stated. They are going to be getting that tree cleared probably in the next hour. Once they do, there's a broken power pole.
That's right. Louise Henry and her son were in their living room watching TV when this massive tree behind me fell on the living room, and they watched the roof collapse in front of them.
Year after year, the Chattanooga Marathon brings plenty of traffic to downtown Chattanooga.
The force of yesterday's winds are evident when you look at the damage. This tree, homeowner thinks it's at least 50 years old, was snapped like a toothpick. Other trees were completely uprooted by the base.
The road is opened up. It's been open for just about 2 hours now. When they cleared the scene a little after 10 o'clock, they took the bus and the car from the scene, and that's when they opened the road back up. Now the Chattanooga police say the driver of the car died, and there was a small child in that back seat that was being transported to T.C. Thompson for evaluation.
Now police have issued warrants for Burton on charges of aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. Take a look. Again, this is what she looks like. She is considered armed and dangerous.
Well, some 3,800 workers are responsible for putting together 3 different types of vehicles along the assembly line in this expansive roof, under the expansive roof of Volkswagen Chattanooga.
You can see it's all boarded up. Now we've even spotted a window frame just lying in the front yard here.
It was a crane mounted onto a truck, but I want you to come with me and I want to show you exactly what crews have been dealing with all day long. Down here is where you can really see how that crane that was mounted onto that truck, it sank into the river when that barge sank, and what crews are worried about is that fuel and that oil that was in both of that vehicle and machinery, how much of it leaked into the river. The big question is they don't know exactly when this sank.
Joy Dukes live with details of the crash. Joy?
Well, David, Cindy, as you said, those 33 people were on their way to a movie theater in Cleveland when that incident happened earlier this morning. Sergeant Alan Bailey with the Tennessee Highway Patrol tells us that there was a tractor trailer that was in front of those two buses, and it stopped abruptly at the intersection of APD 40 and Westland Drive.
Faith Caldwell only had seconds to react when she saw that car veer into her lane. She was carrying 11 students on board and knew she couldn't take that impact head on. So she maneuvered the bus safely, minimizing the hit and saving lives.
Man between the ages of 30 and 40 with blonde hair, white man between 30 and 40 with blonde hair with a rifle and some sort of tactical vest walking down 8th Street near UTC's campus.
You know, UTC's police chief says they have to take calls like the one they got today seriously, and that's exactly what they did.
I talked to Channa Howard, who was here in Fletcher Hall about an hour after she was evacuated. She tells me when students first got those alerts, they didn't know what to think.
A man with blonde hair walking around with a weapon and wearing tactical gear.
You said you're nervous. Our hearts are pounding at this point, just waiting to learn more, right?
Right, yes, I'm very nervous. I mean, when your son sends you a message and says there's a shooter on campus.
I'm here on East 8th Street and Douglas, and this is the corner where a lot of students are gathering.
We just heard there was a gunman, and we did like the whole not evacuation, the lockdown thing where we got on the floor.
Everyone received a text message pretty much saying that, we had a shooter walking from 8th Street toward UTC campus.
Police have just told me that the issue here has been resolved. I don't know exactly what that means, but Chief Roddy is literally walking over here as we speak, so we hope to learn more about what that means. But again, police have confirmed to me that the issue here on UTC, where there was a report of a white male wearing a tactical vest and a long rifle, that the issue has been resolved. Here now walking up is Chattanooga Police Chief David Roddy. He is going to be giving us an update as to what is going on, so just stand by for that.
What happened today is we received a call in through 911, I believe, just reports of an individual that had caused concern, presented some type of threat. We had some reports of an individual possibly wearing a gun belt. There were some reports of an individual possibly carrying a rifle. So immediately, out of an abundance of caution, UTC police as well as Chattanooga police officers came into the area and began patrolling just to see what we could locate. Without any initial location of any suspects on scene, we started to try and work backwards from that to locate the individual that had called the complaint in. Eventually that party was located. We got some more first-hand information about what was seen and what they had initially reported. And what we determined at this time is it looks like a Chattanooga police officer at the end of their shift, wearing a full police uniform, had retrieved items out of their car and were walking towards their residence to go to bed.
Thunder, the newest member of the Storm Alert team, and we are so excited to debut Thunder. The premier event is Battle of the Bells. We will be taking Thunder out over the years to numerous events, schools.
We have been here all morning long, and we're going to be here all day long, taking your donations for the Salvation Army. Come out and support Battle of the Bells. All of this money stays right here in our Chattanooga community.
I think it's a really important aspect of the actual food drive is making sure that everything goes in the correct place.
We're here at the Chattanooga Area Food Bank for the 35th annual Share Your Christmas Food Drive.
And she said that she wants to challenge all mail carriers in the Tennessee Valley to donate today to Share Your Christmas.
We also have crews in Dalton and in Cleveland. We're asking for your donations today. $1 equals 4 meals. $25 equals 100 meals. Just to kind of put it into perspective, a little goes a long way.
And we've just learned that Burton has been banned from the Hamilton Place Mall property for that incident involving that police officer and the vehicle. Now, police have issued warrants for Burton on charges of aggravated assault and reckless endangerment.
That shooting happened in a parking lot just outside of the Riverbend Festival. 2 13-year-olds were shot and a 14-year-old suspect is now in custody.
As you can see behind me, crews are out here fixing the concrete as we speak right now. We are actually told that the driver that was injured in this accident will survive.
Officials have warned drivers to avoid this area at all costs.
We want to thank you for choosing Channel 3 for your news. I'm David Carroll.
And I'm Latrice Curry. Cindy has the night off.
Tonight, only on 3, we're hearing from the man injured in the I-75 bridge railing collapse.
And he asked not to be shown in close-up. He's dealing with double vision and a long list of injuries, but he's ready to give his side of the story, a story he says he's only sharing once. On the morning of April 1st, 2019, Ryan Hickson's life was about to change forever. The 30-year-old husband and new father had resigned his job as an insurance adjuster and was enjoying a day off before starting a new job with FedEx. Over the years, he'd driven hundreds of thousands of miles with no incident, and then it happened. Returning to Chattanooga from Dalton on I-75, merging onto I-24, part of a bridge railing collapsed from the overpass. He had no time to avoid the falling concrete.
All I remember was I was driving, and then I wasn't.
Just that quick?
Just that quick. I never saw anything come down. I just stopped.
A driver who saw it all from behind pulled over to help.
Are they stuck inside?
Yeah, they're stuck inside. They're not moving, not doing anything.
Okay, you said a part of a bridge fell down?
Larry Lawrence and his family were on a spring break trip from South Georgia.
Took out my phone, ran over, and while I was running up to the car, dialed 911, hoping to potentially save this guy's life or hoping for some signs of life.
Hickson lost consciousness. Hours later, he awakened in the hospital after the first of many surgeries.
Honestly, I was confused when I saw my wife for the first time because I didn't think in those moments that I was going to see her again. I remember being confused, and I think I told her I was going to have to relearn to walk because I thought I was obviously going to be paralyzed from that impact.
The first reports coming from police and government officials acknowledged the bridge collapse, but underplayed the victim's condition. There were expressions of relief that no one was seriously injured. Hickson can now set the record straight.
I had significant internal hemorrhaging, which is why I passed out. They ended up having to remove 2 feet of my intestines. The artery that goes to the intestine is what was cut and hemorrhaging. My sternum is cracked. My eye socket is fractured in 2 places, which has caused double vision.
Married for less than 2 years, and with a baby girl now just 6 weeks old, he's unable to drive, walks with a cane, and cannot perform once routine household chores.
The house can't take out the trash, can't hold my baby or carry her around and help care for her like I would have been otherwise.
He's been robbed of his health and livelihood. Medical bills are starting to accumulate, and he's considering legal action. When he heard various theories as to why the bridge railing collapsed, he just shook his head. To him, the answer seems clear. The state is responsible, he says, for ensuring bridge safety.
In 2018, they even said there's potential for bridge elements to fall on the roadway below. They noted there's a tree growing out of a crack in the side of the bridge that was causing the cracks to expand. Just that right there. It shows negligence on their part.
His future is uncertain, yet he remains hopeful. He says his family, both in and out of Chattanooga, stepped up to help, as did his circle of friends. Although his name has not been released publicly until now, he says the prayer coming from the entire community is powerful.
I'd like to thank them for their prayers. We've been overwhelmed by the amount of prayers and support from people we've never even met or heard of before.
He can't help but ask, what if? What if he had approached that interchange 30 seconds earlier? He believes everything happens for a reason, and he hopes this serves as a wake-up call for government agencies we rely upon for our safety.
I would hope that they may reevaluate their processes and procedures that they use to evaluate our infrastructure and respond more appropriately when need be.
Ryan Hickson also expresses his appreciation for the skilled surgeons and other medical workers who have guided him through numerous procedures, with more still to come. He also encourages all of us to donate blood because he needed several units on that day. And he admits that even if he achieves full physical recovery, he'll be dealing with the natural fears of just driving again. He says after what he's been through, he'll never look at a bridge the same way again.
Well, it took about a week for TDOT to complete repairs and reopen both lanes of I-24 after the partial collapse. In a news conference the day after it happened, TDOT said the bridge was already slated to be replaced as part of a larger project that was announced last year. We reached out to TDOT spokesperson today to get an update on that, and we're told as part of the project, the bridge will eventually be demolished and replaced. Heavy construction should begin this fall, with it being completed in the summer of 2021. Now, in that same news conference, TDOT told us, based on, quote, scientific evidence, they believe a driver of a tractor trailer hit the bridge, ultimately causing it to collapse. There is no video record of the bridge being hit, only the physical evidence engineers say they found pointing them to that finding. TDOT told us today they have received a few tips about who may have hit the bridge, but say none of the tips have panned out.
Now, we've covered this bridge collapse extensively. Some of our investigative stories include the dispatcher who took the warning call, the person who witnessed the collapse, and the bridge inspection report. You can find all those stories inside our WRCB app.
A $300,000 bond is set for the woman accused in the deadly hit-and-run that killed a Chattanooga police officer, Nicholas Gallinger.
Police say that any clue in this case, no matter how small you think it is, it could be a big update and make a big break in this case.
Parts of Hamilton Place Mall are closed because there is flooding tonight inside the mall. Viewer video shows water pouring from the ceilings in Sephora earlier this afternoon. Channel 3's Hunter Hoagland joins us now live from the mall. Hunter, tell us what's closed there.
But mall officials tell me that the food court and a few of the surrounding stores are temporarily closed due to flooding. And let me tell you guys, it was an absolute mess just getting over here. Gun Barrel Road was completely flooded. We even saw a couple of wrecks just getting here. Take a look at this picture a viewer sent in earlier today. The rainwater is absolutely dumping through the ceiling, causing stores to close early. The mall says right now they're directing traffic up and over the food court. They tell me there's about an inch of standing water inside the mall.
Just into the Eyewitness Newsroom, crews have found 12-year-old Matthew Hopkins.
This is the good news we've been hoping for. So let's get right to our Jake Chapman. He is live on the scene with details. Jake?
Cindy, that's right. This is very good news. We have been told that they just found 12-year-old Matthew Hopkins right over here in a creek nearby his home, about half a mile down away from his home. We just saw crews running down here and neighbors as well.
This weekend will be warm with the humidity increasing. We may see a few showers on Sunday.
That's right, maybe a few showers, but generally over the next 7 days, things look pretty dry around here, so get out and enjoy this late summer weather. It's not that humid, it's not that hot, it's summertime, but it's pretty nice. It's going to be a lot better than what's going to happen down in Florida. Thank you for coming today. Did you have a good time? Oh.
For a full list of scores, both good and bad, check out the story on WRCBTV.com. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, and as always, enjoy your meal and go Mocs.
Here we go. Good luck, everybody.
Who is going to win this beautiful home at Hawks Landing in Appleton, Tennessee?
I'm going to tell you.
Please do.
I'm being very careful here to make sure I pronounce it right.
Okay.
Stacy Breland, Dunlap, Tennessee. Wow. Stacy, I hope you're watching. If you know Stacy, call Stacy. Okay? Just in case, because Stacy is getting the surprise of a lifetime today. This St. Jude Dream Home goes to Stacy Breland of Dunlap, Tennessee.
Benjamin Dessalines, Kamika Bruce, and Daniel Mitchum were fired from the Chattanooga Police Department after separate internal affairs investigation. Desmond Logan quit while being investigated. Now, Dessalines was arrested in November for felony kidnapping and sexual battery. Bruce was fired for insubordination and untruthfulness. Mitchum was accused of crashing his patrol car while off duty and is being investigated for undisclosed criminal offenses. Logan was accused of rape while on duty. He has not been criminally charged. 142. That's how many internal affairs investigations were opened against Chattanooga police officers last year. Channel 3 recently reported on 8 of those cases. Of those 8, 3 officers resigned, 4 were fired, and 1 remains under investigation after this video was shared on social media showing that officer punching a man in handcuffs. In a recent meeting with city council members, Police Chief David Roddy was ordered to explain his department's policy.
There's a lot for a community, for a council, for police officers to understand in that process.
Chief Roddy explained all allegations of employee misconduct are investigated, even anonymous complaints.
To me, that's a very big takeaway that separates your police department from many agencies across the country.
Here's how the process works. A complaint is submitted. The officer involved is notified. The complaint is sent to the IA department. and the Administrative Review Committee. Eventually, it is sent to the Deputy Chief of Staff, then to Chief Roddy.
This takes away, and rightfully so, my discretion as Chief of Police.
Generally, an investigation can take at least 6 months to complete, according to the police department's policy handbook. A supervisor can request more time. Administration reviews the results, then the officer involved appears in a disciplinary hearing.
Our officers face fair and equitable discipline every time they go into a discipline hearing. And the community also understands that it's not discretionary. We're doing it right, we just need to do it better.
Well, Chief Roddy is requesting decertification for all 4 officers previously mentioned, meaning they will not be able to work as officers in the state of Tennessee. We requested a sit down with Chief Roddy today. That request was denied, but a spokesperson tells me the reason all these cases were decided this week is because they were all heard in the same Administrative Review Committee meeting. That meeting was held on December 20th.
Our camera was rolling when Octavia Shaw was taken to an ambulance and when Matias Martinez was taken into custody. Channel 3's Caroline Corrigan talked to a neighbor who is following this Amber Alert all morning.
Well, officials here at the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office tell me it was a tip from a concerned homeowner this morning that led them to 2-year-old Octavia Shaw. After a massive hunt across the Tennessee Valley overnight, the search for Octavia Shaw ended just a few miles from where it started on Boy Scout Road. It came more than 12 hours after police pulled Octavia's grandmother over for a traffic stop. That's where police asked Martinez to stand with Octavia in the shade while they questioned her grandmother for outstanding warrants. During the questioning, police say Martinez took off on foot, prompting an Amber Alert, which was sent to nearby neighbors like James Adams.
Well, it was concerning because they said they had found, or they had something to do with Boy Scout Road up here, and it's just shortly up the road from our house. So, you know, it makes you wonder. Of course, and lock all doors, make sure that you don't have any problems there.
Who says he was hoping for the best. And by Friday morning, a homeowner spotted Octavia and Martinez at the intersection of Boy Scout Road and Moses Road. Channel 3 was there as police brought Martinez into the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for questioning and sent little Octavia to the hospital to be evaluated. But officials say it appeared she was okay, despite spending the night outside. An outcome neighbors like Adams was hoping for.
I thought that was quicker than normal. You know, they had to wait 2-3 days normally before they find one like that. But this little girl was found quickly.
He just needs to be able to tell his side of the story.
Edward Green Jr. hopes this wheel will help tell his cousin's story.
I mean, it's the same tire that was on his 1988 Ford Mustang at the time.
It was 1997 when Victoria Carr Hollingsworth went missing. Her remains were found buried on Billy Goat Hill 2 years later. The case sat unsolved for 16 years until the TNT television series Cold Justice took it on, leading to the arrest and conviction of Victoria's ex-husband, Adolphus Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth, who is appealing his conviction, reached out to Channel 3 in a 5-page handwritten letter. He included hundreds of pages of documents he says proves he didn't get a fair trial.
I want to let the public know that I did not kill Victoria Carr Hollingsworth.
Speaking to us from the state prison in Bledsoe County, Hollingsworth says he planned out his defense with his public defender, Steve Brown, but the jury never heard it.
So, I was looking forward to my defense being put forth and me basically being exonerated in charge. When it came time to put my defense on, the public defender stood up and said defense rests.
Hollingsworth says he was given the opportunity to take the stand, but his attorney advised him not to testify.
But it's a 16-inch tire.
Hollingsworth hopes this wheel will help convince a judge to hear him out. It's the same kind of wheel that was on the 1988 Ford Mustang at the center of his case. Detectives noted tire marks across his yard they claimed matched the car Victoria was driving when she went missing.
He wanted to show that the tire tracks that they allegedly, that vehicle made the width of the tracks didn't match the width of the tire.
Hollingsworth says the measurements from the tracks shown in this crime scene video don't match the width of the car either.
We had already knew that Ford has never made a Mustang Fox body style 5 foot 4 inches between the year of 1979 to 1993.
He also disputes that a branch lodged between the bumper matched a bush in his yard.
It actually shows this particular bush that this branch is supposed to come from, but it shows the bush green and alive, but what's wedged in the tailpipe is completely dead and withered up, and the only hours of separation is 3 hours.
We reached out to Brown to find out why he didn't present any of this evidence during Hollingsworth's trial. He couldn't comment because of the pending appeal, but in a response to a complaint filed by Hollingsworth with the Board of Professional Responsibility, Brown wrote, "The primary issue was identity during the trial. It was my opinion that the issue of identity had been adequately raised and presented to the jury. Even with the video, photographs, and diagram, they would not have added anything to the defense and issue of identity."
Remember, it's the jury's responsibility to rule without a shadow of a doubt. If there's some doubt involved, then that means that there's something wrong.
Now Green is hoping a new set of eyes will bring this wheel of justice full circle.
Character education is a hot topic in schools, so it's always great to see those lessons displayed in everyday life.
Students at Sequatchie County Middle School see it every day in a very special friendship of 2 6th graders that blossomed into a homecoming celebration they'll never forget. The story of Gracie and Matthew in School Patrol. Gracie Johnson and Matthew Hart are best buddies. They met 5 years ago when they were 6 years old. Even then, Gracie noticed that Matthew was very active.
He would act up a lot, and then I would tell him that, Matthew, you're here and you belong here, and that everybody wants you to be here, and that he would start calming down and he would hug me.
We now know Matthew is a boy with autism, talkative, inquisitive, and at one time the target of bullying. Gracie was not about to let that happen.
I've had to step in a few times and hey, would you want to be treated like that? I mean, that's not how we treat somebody.
Recently, Gracie learned she made the middle school homecoming court. When it came time to choose an escort, she wanted Matthew.
And I didn't care that he had autism because of that. That wasn't going to affect anything. He's my friend, I love him, and I would do almost anything for him.
But was this a good idea? Some of the grown-ups said Matthew's behavior could be unpredictable and he was not comfortable in crowds. Gracie had no such concerns.
It's going to work out. It's in God's hands. He's going to let us do what he needs to do.
The big night came. In a true fairy tale ending, when the homecoming princess was announced, Gracie's name was called.
Miss Gracie Johnson. Well, I was really shocked.
What was Matthew's reaction?
Gracie, you won, you won, you won.
For Matthew, it was a night he'll never forget.
I was wearing a suit.
And you looked handsome.
Wow, yeah.
And Gracie, tell me about how she looked.
She has flowers.
And looks beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
In the best example of good character, Gracie was thinking more about Matthew than herself.
I gotta ask you, who is happier about this, you or him?
Probably him.
Since homecoming, these best friends are treated as rock stars at Sequatchie Middle, receiving applause when they enter the cafeteria. In a world short on role models, we can all learn some valuable lessons from 6th graders who know the true meaning of friendship.
Gracie has many friends and many different types of friends. You know, she doesn't put a title on people.
People with autism, they stand out. They're different, and it's a good thing that they're different because, I love my friends, but it's nice to have somebody different that doesn't think the same way as everybody else.
Hundreds of tourists come to ride down the Ocoee River. Today, we got to experience it. Take a look. Today, we were among the 180,000 people who come to the Ocoee River to raft each season. This industry is a major part of Polk County's annual revenue.
We play a huge role in preserving, protecting, and enhancing these beautiful natural resources that we have.
On average, Ryan Cook, the owner of Ocoee Inn Rafting, brings in about $5,000 a day in the summer. And to keep up that much volume, he has to employ a lot of guides.
It's incredible. I mean, the number of people that actually come in, and this is an economic engine for Polk County.
While rafters are enjoying the gorgeous views, they must also multitask, listening to an experienced raft guide giving commands.
With a trained guide and proper safety and proper gear, it is safe to raft on the Ocoee River.
Cook wants to make sure people know everyone is welcome on the river.
We take people from hemophiliacs to quadriplegics. We've taken grandma and grandpa that are 80, 90 years old.
Commissioner David Salyers with the Tennessee Department of Environment Conservation is with one of the 3 groups the outfitters on the Ocoee River have to work with. He says protecting these parks is incredibly important.
We play a huge role in preserving, protecting, and enhancing these beautiful natural resources that we have.
They're not only preserving the river and the forest around it, but the experience the river provides.
There's a partnership with TVA, local community, and the outfitters, the U.S. Forestry Service, on basically managing the water to promote this, to promote the activities of the outfit.
Just make sure you bring a change of clothes.
Inside this horse barn, special bonds are formed. Connections between horses and children who are learning to ride them.
Great posting, Carter. Look at you go.
Discovering a love of horses has been life-changing for 8-year-old Carter Perry.
About 4 or 5 years ago, we started to wonder about our little girl, some developmental things, and we just wanted to kind of know what were we looking at.
Her mom, Candy, says Carter was diagnosed with autism and started occupational and speech therapy.
We ended up hitting this plateau where it just wasn't, we weren't seeing as much progress as my husband and I would like to see. We had gotten to a great point, but we wanted to take her to the next level.
Good. That's when Candy began researching equine therapy and brought Carter to Tri-State Therapeutic Riding Center in McDonald.
She was terrified of the sights, the smells, textures of everything. There was a lot going on as well, and so we left and we thought, oh, did we make the right decision?
They came to the barn every week for 6 months, but the most Carter would do is touch a horse, until one day she finally got the courage to get on one.
And the most amazing thing is that's all we needed. Those few steps were just kind of her wings, and then she just flew from there.
Therapeutic horseback riding has physical, mental, and emotional benefits.
You stay nice and balanced.
Director Ashley Hartz says the horse-human relationship is healing.
Having the honor of being a part of that relationship, because truly it's the horse and the rider who are going on this journey, and I'm just there to help facilitate it, and I'm so happy to watch all of that.
4 years later, Candy has developed a passion for horses too. She's now the barn manager and owns 2 horses, which stay at the barn for other kids to enjoy too.
Don't be afraid to try things. You may fail, but don't ever be afraid to try, because it may be the one thing that unlocks your child's life.
And Paul, Sunday's game means a lot to a lot of people, but there's a player from our area who made it through a lot of roadblocks for this big moment coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, Latrice, welcome back live to Atlanta, Georgia, the site of Super Bowl 53. You hit the nail on the head there. Red Bank's Keontae Davis. It's a story, an unlikely story, a story of perseverance, a story that continues this weekend on the biggest stage in Super Bowl 53. But to have a true understanding and appreciation for Keontae's story, how he ended up here on the biggest stage, you must first go back in time to where it all started. Red Bank, Tennessee, circa 2012, National Signing Day.
This has been a long way coming. It's so happy I finally get to play at college.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
There was not a dry eye in the place.
Those tears weren't tears of pain or worry. The time for that was 8 months prior, when Red Bank's Keontae Davis tore his ACL. And as quick as his senior season ended, so did the recruiting calls from all but one school, his hometown Chattanooga Mocs.
Just having somebody caring about him when everybody else kind of fell by the wayside once they found out he was hurt.
I finally get to play at college. I know how much hard work I put in, and to be able to move on to the next level, everything just came out that day.
Turns out it wasn't the last time Keontae would watch the next level shy away. Davis, the two-time All-American at UTC, was a projected mid-round NFL draft pick until doctors spotted a bulging disc in his neck. Davis went undrafted and was once again staring uncertainty in the face.
When he had that look on his face, and I walked over to him and I said, look, nothing ever came easy to you. You've always had to work for what you got, so why would it start now?
I want it bad, man.
So Keontae did what he always did. Went back to work.
Luckily, I had the support of my family, my coaches, my teachers, and so many other people. It didn't let me hit rock bottom, never let me hit rock bottom.
Signing with the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent, working his way onto the 53-man roster and into Super Bowl 53.
I knew all those people had my back, and I couldn't let them down. I didn't, and I've been striving ever since then.
Me and him often talk about David and Goliath because we feel like his story is like that.
There's a lesson to be told there and learned to anyone in circumstances similar to Keontae's with a dream like that, play in the NFL, whatever it is. You're a youngster out there, learn from Keontae Davis.
They've been planning, preparing all this for months, and it's finally here. Hundreds of thousands of people are gathered around Ben Bobick. There must be a reason why. Ben, what do you have for us?
Welcome back to Nashville, guys. We're here at the 2019 NFL Draft. We made it across the bridge now to where all the action is going to be taking place in terms of where they'll be making the picks.
Nationally ranked number 7 North Carolina team. So 5 of those 6, yes, the Power 5s, but one of which came to a smaller school, that being the Chattanooga Mocs. The last time the Mocs were on this very court, 2016, the season opener, UTC pulled off the upset.
We'll meet a little more to some folks here in Chattanooga because Red Bank's own Keontae Davis will look to add Super Bowl champion to his resume. And we turn now to Sports Director Paul Shaheen live in Atlanta. Paul, you've seen Keontae play in high school, college, and now the NFL. His story, very special.
It certainly is. Yes, welcome back live, Ben, everyone in the Chattanooga area. You know, talking to Keontae this week, we've been reminiscing about the times you just mentioned, and I thought of one thing. Someone once said to fully understand where you are, you need to know where you've been. And Keontae Davis knows exactly where he's been and exactly what he's been through to make it to Super Bowl 53 with the New England Patriots. So for us to now fully understand his story, let's go back to February 2012, Red Bank High School, a very special National Signing Day.
It's been a long way coming. It's so happy I finally get to play at college.
Congratulations, man. Thank you. There was not a dry eye in the place.
Those tears weren't tears of pain or worry. The time for that was 8 months prior, when Red Bank's Keontae Davis tore his ACL. And as quick as his senior season ended, so did the recruiting calls from all but one school, his hometown Chattanooga Mocs.
Just having somebody caring about him when everybody else kind of fell by the wayside once they found out he was hurt.
I finally get to play at college. I know how much hard work I put in, and to be able to move on to the next level, everything just came out that day.
Turns out it wasn't the last time Keontae would watch the next level shy away. Davis, the two-time All-American at UTC, was a projected mid-round NFL draft pick until doctors spotted a bulging disc in his neck. Davis went undrafted and was once again staring uncertainty in the face.
When he had that look on his face, and I walked over to him and I said, look, nothing ever came easy to you. You've always had to work for what you got, so why would it start now?
I want it bad, man.
So Keontae did what he always did. Went back to work.
Luckily, I had the support of my family, my coaches, my teachers, and so many other people. It didn't let me hit rock bottom, never let me hit rock bottom.
Signing with the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent, working his way onto the 53-man roster and into Super Bowl 53.
I knew all those people had my back, and I couldn't let them down. I didn't, and I've been striving ever since then.
Me and him often talk about David and Goliath because we feel like his story is like that.